Greetings of the day. A warm welcome to the students. Let us begin with another lecture in the series. Today we are going to study a very important topic, which is for sure about to be a part of your exam. Because since last 5-7 years we have noticed that there is a question on this particular topic. And the topic that I have chosen today is again an important concept of Income Tax Act 1961, and the topic is residential status. This particular term is being defined under section 6 of Income Tax Act 1961. See, now you're slowly reaching towards the point where you will be calculating taxes. So in order to calculate the tax, it is actually mandatory to check out the status, residential status of a person. We can take a quick revision that who is a person? A person can be an individual, can be an HUF, can be a firm, can be a company, AOP, BOI, and there is a list of such 7 persons. So these persons need to define whether they were residential in the particular previous year for which we are calculating tax or not. If they are having residential status as a resident in India, then the tax regime is different as compared when they declare that they were non-residents in India. Their taxation system gets different. So the taxability of an individual in India, it depends basically upon his residential status for any particular financial year, and make this very clear that residential status can be different in different years. I may be a resident here in this particular year, I may not be resident in the upcoming years. I may move to some foreign country for certain reason. So the term residential status actually has been coined under the income tax laws of India and must not be confused with the individual's citizenship. Though I may not be a resident in India, but I may be citizen in India. Citizenship and residential status both are different. Citizenship, we know very well, we get by birth or through our parents. We will be defining some parts of it in the upcoming slides. But it should not get merged with the residential status. Residential status basically refers to the presence of a person in a country or working in a particular country for a particular financial year. If I was there in the country for a particular number of days in the previous year, then I would be considered as a resident, otherwise not. Very simple. But we cannot take the citizenship in that case from a country. I am an Indian and would remain an Indian, even if I'm not residing in India. Okay. An individual may be a citizen of India, but may end up to be a non-resident for a particular year. That's what I was saying. Similarly, a foreign citizen may end up being a resident in India. Maybe the person is from the foreign origin, but he is residing in India and working in India for any purpose, maybe his company or for any purpose. So he would be called as resident in India, but he cannot claim citizenship in India in that situation. He is a person from foreign origin only and is a foreign citizen only. Just for the purpose of taxation, to calculate the tax, the person is considered as resident in India for income tax purposes for a particular year. So this residential status actually is different. I told you this is different for different purpose, maybe an individual, firm, company, etc. It is different for different persons. Okay. And very important, please remember the section 6 defines the status of a resident. Okay, let's move forward. See, this is the crux that you're about to study in the upcoming slides in next 15-20 minutes with me, and may be able to gain 15 marks in exam. Many a times it has been quoted in the past that there for sure you will be getting a numerical from this particular topic from your syllabus. I also used to say till last year. You would wonder, it happened last year that there was a numerical, there was not a numerical, there was a theory question on this particular topic. that you were supposed to define the section and the conditions under it. So in that situation, it is necessary to understand the whole section in a very nice manner and to memorize the conditions, because you cannot cram it, you need to understand it. Okay. So I would like to say it once again that if we see last 7 5 7 years papers, 90% times you will be see a numerical question from this particular section, but last year 2019 there was a theory question from this particular part. So from here we can say that you can have a numerical as well as a theory question in exam, but it is for sure that you will have a question from this particular part in exam, so you need to prepare yourself accordingly. Let's move towards the concept. Now you can see the residential, under the residential status you have only two different categories. Means either a person can be resident in India or a non-resident in India, NRI that we call basically. So in that situation these are the only two categories, but if a person is resident in India, we need to define further whether he is an ordinary resident in India or he is not ordinary resident in India. That we define after checking out his status, whether he is a resident or a non-resident. If he is a resident, then only we move further to check out the categories. Okay, let us begin. I would like to say that first of all we will check, I just told you that whether the person is resident in India or non-resident in India. For that the conditions are defined under section 6 subsection 1 of Income Tax Act 1961. And in it, an individual who fulfills any one of the following two tests, these two tests, A, this first or second, if the person satisfied either of these two, will become resident in India. So I have quoted this as test A, where we are testing whether a person is resident in India or non-resident in India. In that, first we have that if the person is in India during the relevant previous year for a period amounting to all or in aggregate to 182 days or more, means that you will be counting the number of days for which he was present in that particular previous year or not. Okay, so if he is present in India for an aggregate of 182 days, if you see monthly basis 3 6 18, so if he is there for 6 months or so, then he is considered as resident in India. But we cannot calculate it on monthly basis 6 months or so, we calculate it as number of days only. While you will be doing numericals, there also you will be calculating the criteria with days only, that he should be available in that particular financial year for 182 days. And here I must not tell you that financial year is from 1st April to 31st March. For taxation purpose, this is so. So I won't be telling this again and again. So you keep that in mind, that if we are talking about a year that we have discussed while we were discussing the concepts of previous year assessment year, at that time we discussed that. If any one of you are not aware of it, you can watch the previous videos, previous lectures, and you will be able to understand that. So this was the first condition. If a person follows this, means if a person qualifies this, he becomes a resident in India. On the contrary, we have another part in which he needs to qualify two basic conditions, and the conditions there are that if he was in India for a period amounting to in all to 365 days or more during the 4 years preceding to the relevant previous year. If he was not for many days in that particular year, then for which we are calculating, then we can check out the 4 previous years. If in all, out of those 4 years he was there in India for 1 year, means for 365 days at least, then he is considered, he qualifies one condition to be a resident. See, I have put a clause of and here. He needs to qualify both these conditions, then only he would be considered as resident. Here in this first part, there is only one clause, that he should be in India for 182 days and he can simply qualify to be a resident in India. But here you have two conditions. First, he needs to qualify both the conditions. First, that he should be for 365 days or more in the 4 previous years, and second, that he is in India for a period amounting in all to 60 days or more in the relevant previous year. Means in the previous year, he should be in India for 60 days or more, and for the purpose, for the 4 previous years, he should be there in India for 365 days. Okay. An individual who is resident under section 6 subsection 1 can be subdivided into two categories, that is either he can be ordinary resident or a not ordinary resident, after defining and qualifying these two particular categories. To be a resident, the person needs to be in India for 182 days, and the other category or that I have used, if he does not qualify this, if he is not in India for 182 days, then he can qualify this condition. If he qualifies this both these conditions, then he becomes resident in India. And once you are clear that a person is resident in India, then you further check out, like we have seen here also. Once we are clear that the person is resident and he is not a non-resident, in that situation, then only we check out that whether a person is ordinary resident or a not ordinary resident. So next we need to check out that what are the conditions for being a resident to be as ordinary or a not ordinary. Let's move further. I have quoted this as test B. Person here is resident, we are sure. We just need to check out whether he is an ordinary resident or a not ordinary resident. And this test, if a person qualifies these two conditions, then he becomes an ROR, means resident and ordinary resident in India. And this has been defined under section 6 only, but here the subsection is 6. You can notice that in the previous part where the residential status is being defined, the section is 6 only, but the subsection is 1. So section 6 subsection 1 defines the conditions for being a resident, and further section 6 subsection 6 defines the condition to be a resident, to be a ordinary resident. Okay, after fulfilling one of the above tests, one of the above two tests that we have seen at point 1 and 2, an individual becomes resident in India. Now we are sure that for whom we are checking out this particular criteria, we know that he is a resident in India. We just need to check out whether he is a ordinary resident or not. So further, to become an ordinary resident of India, an individual has to qualify these two things, qualify these two conditions. First, that he has been resident in India in at least 2 out of 10 previous years immediately prior to the previous year in question. Whatsoever year is given to you in the question, you need to check out in the last 10 previous years he needs to be a resident in India at least for 2 years. Now please be careful, students misunderstand it sometimes that it is like 2 out of 10 years. What you need to check? You need to check the residential status, which you will be testing out using these conditions. So out of the 10 years, he should be a resident in India for 2 years, first thing. Second thing, that he has stayed in India for at least 730 days in 7 previous years, immediately prior to the previous year, which is given in the question. So in the 7 previous years, 730 days needs to be counted minimum. Even if he is for 729 days, he becomes not ordinary resident. He is not able to qualify the conditions to be an ordinary resident. And for at least 2 years out of 10 years, if he is resident only for 1 year, there only he disqualifies and becomes a non-resident in India, not ordinary resident in India, sorry. And here both the things are supposed to be qualified, 2 out of 10 years being resident and 730 days in the 7 previous years. And if he qualifies these two, he becomes ordinary resident in India. If he does not qualify this, he is resident but not ordinary resident in India. Let's move further. I just need to tell you a few things, because sometimes while putting up questions, numericals, students face this problem. See, while calculating number of days for stay in India, day of departure was not included. But now, as per the decision of authority of advanced ruling, both day of departure from India and day of arrival in India are counted as stay in India, because we want the person to be resident so that we can charge more of the taxes. You will get to know in the last slide about that. For Indian citizen going abroad on a job or as a member of crew of an Indian ship, who is going outside India for a job and his contract for such employment outside India has been approved by the central government, or if he is a member of a crew of an Indian ship. So while we are defining Indian citizen or the person of Indian origin, that needs to be considered. In case of an individual being a citizen of India and a person of Indian origin, who being outside India comes to visit India in any previous year, can also be under the consideration. So person shall be deemed to be of Indian origin if he is born in India, or either his parents are born in India, or either any of his grandparents were born in India, or undivided India, we can say, then the person is called as the person of an Indian origin. Very simple. Now, non-resident, you have got to know. We have seen the test A of subsection 1, where you are having two conditions for 182 days, and the other condition is having two further conditions. If the person is not fulfilling any of those two conditions, then as per section 2, subsection 30 of Income Tax Act 1961, the assessee becomes a non-resident in India. Why have I marked this as 6 only? Section 6, because we are studying residential status, but the point is that a definition of non-resident is mentioned under section 2 subsection 30, but the whole concept of residential status is running under section 6 only. Okay. Then I was talking about taxability. Taxability here is quite simple. If a person is called as resident in India, then a resident will be charged to tax in India on his global income. Whatever he is earning, either in India or abroad, that income would be taxed in India. Means a resident who is having income from abroad even would be taxed in India. So all his global income would be taxed. Now the category of non-resident and that not ordinary resident but not ordinary resident, their tax liability in India is restricted to the income they earn in India. Quite simple. Whatsoever they are earning in India will only be taxed, and they need to pay any tax in India on their, they need not to pay any tax in India on their foreign income. Sometimes it happens that there are cases of double taxation of income, where the same income is getting taxed in India as well as abroad. So in that situation, that may be resorted through the double taxation avoidance agreement DTAA that India would have entered into with that particular other country from where the person is earning that particular income, in order to eliminate the possibility of paying taxes twice. So he is not supposed to pay taxes twice. Accordingly, as per the agreement that we have, our country has entered with that particular country, we can accordingly adjust. The person will get the return of tax as per the conditions which are mentioned in the particular agreement with that particular country that we are having. So this was all about residential status. Here you need to remember the conditions. They are very important. You can learn these by memorizing them for months, like how we can simply memorize 182. If we simply multiply 30 by 6, it's 180, right? And 182 because it's like counted with, sometimes we have 31 days, sometimes we have 30 days. So it's like that you need to memorize the days and the conditions, that what needs to be qualified in order to fulfill the conditions and criteria to check out the residential status of an individual. Here in this lecture, I have discussed the residential status of an individual only, and later in the upcoming lectures, we will be seeing the residential status of the other persons also. But the most important that appears many a time in exam is this individual only. Numericals many a times come from this only, and theory can come up from any of the persons. And last year I would say the question appeared from your HUF and individual both. The question was something like that: you were supposed to state the conditions of residential status of an individual and HUF in India as per Income Tax Act 1961. So that's it for today's lecture. I hope you all are studying well at home. This is a very important topic. If you face any queries, any doubts are there regarding this, you may write to me. Thank you. Take care.